We're going to go over how you can be stupid strong, and we're going to start right now. All right, so first off, we've got to define what is stupid strong. And I think outside of seeing someone in the gym and they're just repping out 315 for dozens of reps, right? That's going to be stupid strong. I also think when you see a dude walking down the street and you've just got that eye test, where like, that dude has no neck, his traps are up to his ear holes, his freaking forearms are massive, his calves are huge, his quads are huge, his back's super wide. That's going to be like the sign that someone's stupid strong. I think there's going to be a timeline, and we're going to have a brief answer to how long it takes to achieve that. And I think some people sort of have a more rapid ability to be stupid strong when compared to others based off of genetics. But I think the first thing, and this is what I wanted to provide everybody right off the bat, is that if you can deadlift 550 to 600 pounds, I think especially once you hit that 600-pound barrier, that's like that big, huge, you're stupid strong. And recently on one of our YouTube community polls, we actually asked people, what's the odds that someone can get to 405 pounds, or what's the number, the average population, can people deadlift 405? I think it was like people believe that only 5% of the population could deadlift 405 pounds. So that sort of shows you pretty quickly, like a 600-pound deadlift would be absolutely massive. So if you're looking at a 600-pound deadlift, I think when you could back squat, 500 pounds for anybody, okay, 200, 250, that's a big freaking squat. Like, that's like, you're stupid strong. Then you're looking at somebody front squat. I think front squat, it's like, once you hit that 400-pound barrier, you're stupid freaking strong. Like 100%, you've got stupid strength. And I think those initial numbers, and we're going to get into the upper body, we're going to get into curls and even some applied stuff. But the big factor here is that what is it? So you have the eye test, you have those initial leg numbers based off of deads, based off of back squats, based off of front squats. But then the other thing is that, can we get too stupid strong? And this is where the interesting part comes into play, is that if we're talking about the realm of athletics, right? I remember in the UFC, there was an individual named Houston Alexander. And did Houston Alexander get so strong that he was bad at fighting? Like, he fought in the UFC, had a couple huge knockouts. I think he might have knocked out Keith Jardine when he was like a pretty powerful fighter. And he had a couple huge wins. Now, I think he most likely, this is related to Houston Alexander, probably spent too much time in the weight room and lacked some serious skills. So I think you can indeed get too strong if it's pulling away from the skill of your sport. Now, the other factor that I'm going to say here is that if you have an individual who wants to just get stupid strong in life, like they just want to lift all the freaking time, they want to try and push big time weight, I think there comes a point in someone's existence where they should probably back off a little bit from, let's say, getting ridiculously strong, and try to dial in some more of their endurance work, some more of their cardio, to try and increase their overall health in the factor that we need to have muscle, we need to be explosive, and we need to have endurance. We know those are sort of like those three key parts of the health pyramid that we're looking at. So there could be a point where we spend too much time getting strong and not enough time being explosive or being, healthy with endurance. So it is possible to do that. Okay. But it's highly unlikely that that will happen. And I would even argue that you can still be stupid strong and actually improve your explosiveness and also improve your cardio. Okay. I truly, truly believe that, especially if you're spending the right amount of time inside the gym. So I think that when you're looking at timelines, okay, and I want to get into a couple key examples. When we're looking at timelines, I think some of the factors have to go into like 5-10 years of overall training. Like, it takes years upon years to just build into becoming stupid strong. It's going to take you, 10, 15,000 reps in specific exercises to develop that stupid strength. And that means doing compound movements like a deadlift, doing compound movements like a bench press, doing compound movements like pull-ups, cleans, front squats, back squats. So to get to that point, it's going to take years because of how much time, how much effort you have to put in. Now, I wanted to share some examples that I sort of feel like was a point in my own life where I had maybe what I would call would be stupid strength. So I was deadlifting 405 pounds here for 21 reps. And I wanted to say to myself, okay, if I could get 20 reps, I would consider that as stupid strength at 405. And I think that's another factor is that, there's Lincoln going through a little, just going through a whole giant obstacle course. Look at that. Back when he was like 3 years old, me chasing him. So I think that initially when we're looking at stupid strength, it's like having these absolute numbers. Okay, so we have an absolute number of a 600-pound deadlift, a 500-pound back squat, a 405-pound front squat, and then you have these other sort of otherworldly numbers, a 405 back squat or deadlift for 20 reps, 315 bench press, 20 reps. You start looking at things like through incredible feats, dumbbell benching the 120s for 20 reps. Hitting 20 pull-ups, you're stupid strong. And then you start to look at pound for pound numbers. So you might look at it and say, all right, if I'm a 200-pound athlete and I can back squat 2.5 times body weight, now we're looking at this as that's stupid strength. That's still a 500-pound deadlift, but for somebody who's 200 pounds, that's phenomenal. Same thing if we're looking at front squat. If we could do a 2 times body weight front squat, stupid strong. Deadlift 2.5 to 2.75 times body weight, stupid strong. Okay, those are stupid strong. Bench, I would even argue, if we're looking at like 1.8 to 2 times body weight, depending on the body weight of the individual, stupid strong. So you start to see that. I think once you get under 200 pounds, you're going to look more at like that pound for pound number. When we get over 200 pounds, we're going to look at that absolute number. Now, here we've got DK hitting some real deep cambered bar back squats. And he's got, I think that's just over 500. 1, 2, 3. No, that's almost 600 or 575 pounds. That's stupid strong, deep. And in one of those bars where you're wobbling all over the place, that's stupid strength. And yes, he's a big monster. He's a big hoss. But still, it comes down to just having absolute stupid strength. This is one of our vlogs. I don't know if you guys have ever checked that stuff out, but this is from way back in the day before we even got into YouTube. Now, I wanted to share here where we've got a full gym filled with high school kids. When you're in high school, there's another factor of being stupid strong, because I think that you're looking at this timeline, okay? And if you're a high school kid who can go out and, here's Cooper single leg squatting for reps 315 plus, and you're looking at Marcus who was doing those cleans, you're looking at it clean, and you're like, if you're a high school kid who can clean 300 pounds or about even 1.5 times body weight, you're stupid strong. If you're going to be single leg squatting 1.5 times body weight or going up over 330 pounds on the single leg squat, you're stupid strong. If you can get into a bench press where you're going to be at like 1.6 times body weight in high school, stupid strong, like unbelievably strong. Okay, hitting a clean at, let's say, a clean would probably be around 1.5, 1.6 times body weight, probably 1.5, stupid strong. So I think that when we see this, we also have to recognize, oh my gosh, how many is Cooper doing here? Okay, so that's actually like 255. When we see this, it comes back to as well, and this guy who's sitting in the back, this is Espo. I think he must have needed a ride back then to the gym. I think that when we start to think through the lens, we're also looking at, all right, how many reps, because we're thinking about this time continuum, right? How many reps is it going to take to get to that point? How much time and how much energy, and then we can start to break down that in certain lifts, we're going to get there faster than in other lifts to stupid strength, depending on the person's genetics, on the person's athletic ability. So all of these factors come into play, and I want to scroll a little bit here. Let's see here. There's DJ in the back. So DJ's cleaned 207 kilos. Okay. That's absurdly stupid strong. And I would make this argument. Here's DJ right here, back there in the back. If we're thinking through this, right, with someone like DJ, once you can clean around 400 pounds body weight, stupid strong. Or 400 pounds, sorry, not 400 pounds body weight, 400 pounds. We immediately look at this through stupid strength. Like, that's absolutely insane. Haley right now, she's snatching body weight for reps, stupid strong. Okay, so I want to keep going here because then I want to get in and provide you guys even more numbers. Let's go through here. I must have been putting in there. I wanted you guys to just check out this old vlog and let you see it. Now, if we're thinking about something along the lines of upper body stupid strength, right? I do like to look at pull-ups, bench, and dips. Those are sort of the numbers that are my gauge. So if we're talking about leg strength, it's going to be deadlifts, back squats, front squats. Okay. This is just stupid strong, right? We're not talking about twitchiness. We're not talking about anything else. Now for the upper body, we're looking at bench. You know, we had said, about 1.5, 1.6 times body weight when you're in high school. You're going to probably look at 2 times body weight when you're getting older. So if you're 30 years old and you weigh 250, you're stupid strong. One, you're stupid strong if you can bench over 400 pounds, and then you achieve this new level of berserker strength, berserker stupid strong when you bench that 500 pounds. That's 2 times body weight. For dips, I like to think through this. If you can, as an absolute number, you're stupid strong. If you can dip 200 pounds attached to your body, if you can dip that for a triple, you're stupid strong. Anything over that, let's say you hit 250 to 300 pounds, now you have that absurd berserker strength. And that comes into how long is that going to take? Now, pull-ups, I think we have to talk through what pull-up strength looks like outside of the reps. We talked about 20 reps, but if we have a kid or an athlete, or myself, let's say, and I want to go out and I want to do a pull-up with 100 pounds and I want to hit a triple with 100 pounds attached to my body weight, that's going to be stupid freaking strong. Okay, typically a number I would use is about like 0.6 times body weight is what you're hanging off your waist for a triple. So if you weigh 250, what is that? You're looking at like a 140 off your body weight, adding to your body weight and hitting that for multiple reps. Okay. With those dips, it's usually 1.17 times what your bench is. Okay. So if you're benching 500, you're going to be actually dipping more than 500 pounds combined. Okay. So that's where we just have to keep that in mind. Now, when we're looking at other examples here, okay, I want you to think through a couple different examples of training in an applied setting. So one, bodybuilding, looking at like curls and things like that. But then we're looking at like farmers, carries, and zerchers. What's up, guys? Our podcast and our channel are sponsored by our own strength training app, Peak Strength. The entire focus of Peak Strength is to provide you guys with the absolute best sports performance app that you could ever imagine. We build out the programs on the back end. We take in all of these different decisions that we learned here on site at Garage Strength so that we can then apply it to you so you can improve your training. So if you guys want to improve your overall sports performance, head over to peakstrength.app, the Google Play Store or the Apple iOS Store. Download Peak Strength. You'll get a free week of training, and then you can start getting on those gains, get those reps done so that you can become a champion. Now, let's get back to the video. Peace. Okay, so if I'm talking about, somebody comes into the gym, we're at a more of like a public setting, and we have an individual who's doing curls. Okay, we look over the person's curling 60 pounds, 70-pound dumbbells. They're in your head. You're immediately making this judgment. He's pretty stupid strong. Like, that's pretty big. Same thing if they've got 45s on an easy curl bar and they're just cranking easy curls or preacher curls with 45s on. That's stupid strong. Now, I think that's an important aspect in the realm of people will say like, oh, well, curls is just for bodybuilding. But typically, when you see somebody whose upper arm is super broad, super thick, you do start to think about shoulder strength, pec strength, and you start to notice, like, oh, yeah, they're a well-developed individual. No one's going to be curling 60, 70-pound dumbbells and not be able to squat decent, leg press well, deadlift decently, or military press something pretty heavy. They're not just doing curls and getting that big. So another thing I was going to bring up is one of my favorite applied challenges is I've invited the throwers over to my house. Okay, so the throwers might come over, and these are guys that are 260 to 315 pounds. And I might say at one time we had to move a chicken tractor. Okay, so I'm taking this crazy example. We had to take a chicken tractor, lift it over a fence, move it into the fence so that we could then put our pigs inside of the chicken tractor so they had shelter. So I had Josh Sirachin, who's about 255 pounds, Sam Mattis and Alex Rose, and Noah Kennedy White, myself. Okay. And we actually purchased this chicken tractor off of one of our other throwers, fathers, Trevor Stutzman's. So I noticed that when we went to lift this thing, okay, when I had moved it initially with normal humans, it was a huge challenge. Huge. And I sort of wanted to see, like, how easy is this going to be with these guys lifting it? Like, do they have that applied strength? And I was a little concerned because some of them had never really done like manual labor. So it was like, well, let's see what happens. We moved this chicken tractor and it was like, I didn't even do anything. It was insane how stupid strong everybody was. And that's like a big factor where when you start to see, like, that would be the realm of farm strength. Okay. So when you're thinking through farm strength, you think through like, wow, like we got these farmers, they're absolutely ungodly strong. Right. So now the way that I try to equate that is that you might look at somebody and see how heavy can they do farmers carries? You have somebody who can do farmers carries with 100s to 120s and they can hold it for like a minute and a half. And now all of a sudden, guess what? Like that person's grip, their shoulders, their traps, their quads, they are stupid freaking strong. And I think the same thing with Zerchers is like, if you're doing a Zercher squat or a Zercher carry, you see how bicep strength, upper back strength now starts to play into this role. Okay. This person who is carrying, let's say Zercher's 315 for a carry that's like 100 yards. Now all of a sudden that same individual, you see their traps, you see their biceps, you see their erectors. That's all things that factor into this stupid strength. And I think that I even like to revert back to, if I think through my ultimate test is when I have an individual come to my house and we're splitting firewood. Okay. One of the most fun challenges is to, we'll use a log splitter, is to see how someone picks up a wheel. And when they put the wheel on the log splitter, how well are they putting the wheel on the log splitter? There is some aspects of manipulation for that big log, that big wheel. And if the individual doesn't have the ability to manipulate that log, that's probably going to be a sign that they're not stupid strong, or they're just too small. They're too light. So where I'm going with this is that stupid strength is one of those one of those aspects. And I think it's like an exercise through society of like sight test, getting into then muscles, okay, getting into movements. And then when we think through muscles, we're looking at shoulders, traps, back, biceps, and then either glutes or quads. Calves will come into play, but some people I know that have like moderately defined calves might still be absolutely ungodly stupid strong. So we just need to think then through if those muscle groups are what lead to stupid strength, what exercises lead to that, and then how can we do this over time. So now I'm going to go into this where I want to actually think through this timeline, okay? So, and walk through someone who's a middle schooler, and walk through how long is it going to take inside middle school to high school to college, and to get to that point. And this is where one of the frameworks, or one of the frameworks that I like to use is called 24/4. Okay, so if we're doing something like 24/4, this is usually like a way that you can challenge yourself on a goal and say, I want to train for 20 weeks for 4 hours a day, and I want to do 4 hours, or not 4 hours a day, 4 hours a week, and I want to do 4 hours of another technical sport. So if you're in high school, you have your 4 hours, playing football or playing baseball or whatever, but we want to say for 20 straight weeks in the off season, you're going to give us 4 hours in the gym. Okay, so 20 weeks, 4 hours in the gym, 4 hours in your technical sport. When we're talking about stupid strength, what this would constitute is, let's take a male who's in 7th grade. Okay, you get a kid who's in 7th grade or 8th grade. By the time they are done 8th grade, they're no longer a middle schooler. We're looking at a middle schooler, and we want to challenge them to do 24/4. Okay, so look, we want you to hit 24/4. We want you to hit these 4 hours for 20 weeks in a row. And what's interesting is that for an adult to do 20 weeks in a row, it's a bit more feasible, because adults can comprehend how long 20 weeks is. They can think through that. They understand that. But they have a better comprehension of time. When you get a middle schooler to commit to 20 weeks, it's like they're literally giving up a large portion of their life. So think about a kid who's 13. Okay, so they've been alive for about 700 weeks. And if you say you want them to commit, what is that, 10% almost, or maybe it's a little bit less, but a fairly large percentage of their life to this training protocol of 24/4, they're probably going to get pretty freaking stupid strong. So now you get a kid, when we're looking at this and we're going, okay, let's get them in our training system to get them stupid strong. We're looking at cleans, front squat, back squat, bench press, pull-ups. Okay, so we immediately jump to, if we're only going to have them for 4 hours a week, okay, we only get them for 4 hours a week. How can we make this kid stupid strong by the time they're done middle school? And what it entails is that we can start to look at our rep rate. Okay, so if we're looking at rep rates and understanding that, for every 160 to 180 reps on bench, we're going to get about 10 pounds increase. Well, now you can start to look back and you can say, all right, well, if we're going to see that somebody who needs to bench press in middle school, if they can bench press 225, okay, so think through this lens. We know that if a kid can get out in 8th grade, at the end of 8th grade, they can bench press 225. We know that on average, they're going to have, for every 10 pounds, it's going to take about 168 reps. Okay, so 168 reps. We know if they're following the 24/4 framework, that they're going to be getting about 70 reps a week on bench press. Okay, so now we're taking this and we're going through, and then we're saying, okay, so for them to go from 135 to 225, they need about 1,500 reps. Okay, so 1,500 reps is going to take us about 6 months if they're following the 24/4 framework. Now, that's from the moment someone is essentially hitting puberty. They've already bench pressed 135. We need 6 months of achieving this, okay, 6 months of coming into the gym and getting this work done. And that's typically what we're going to see as success. It's going to be 6 months. It's going to be about 1,512 reps. And so the interesting part here is that you start to think through, to get a middle school athlete to be stupid strong, we should really just be focusing on the foundational movements. And so foundational exercises are really the absolute key here. Okay, so we don't want to think about some of the more functional stuff. We want to think through foundational exercises. What are going to be the foundational movements? Front squat, back squat, clean, deadlift, bench, incline bench, dips, pull-ups, curls. Those are it. Like, we're looking at 8 to 10 exercises. So now, when we think through this lens, we're going, okay, let's really focus on the foundational exercises. They transfer the best, And now we can see, okay, for them to then go from, when they're in middle school, we want them to then graduate in high school with over a 300-pound bench press. If we can keep them committed to the 24/4 protocol, okay, to that specific framework, now we can see they go from 225 to 315. They're going to need about 340 reps to get 10 pounds onto their bench. Okay, so when that happens, we understand it's going to take about 3,100 reps to get them from 225 to 315. The issue we have that we run into is they're going to have sports, they're going to have injuries, they're going to have vacations, they're going to have time that sort of sets them back. And then all of a sudden, you're looking at a position where it's like, okay, they get to this point and then they back off. And then they get to this point and then they back off. And then they start from here and they back off again. So it's like this constant battle of a seesaw going back and forth of how can we get them these 360 reps on a continuous pathway, okay, on one large continuous pathway. So we still have to go back and recognize that for an individual at a younger age to be stupid strong, it comes back to those foundational exercises. So if we're not focusing on the foundational exercises, then all of a sudden we're not actually going to get stupid strong. And this is going to transfer, think about something like the back squat. We know that for most individuals, if we back squat 100 pounds, they're probably going to front squat around 80% of that, or 80 pounds. Okay, so when we see this, we immediately start to think, all right, now if we've covered that foundational exercise of the bench press and we look at that rate of rep improvement, okay, so the rep rate of improvement, now we're looking at this and going, okay, what do we have to do to get stupid strong at each point in the back squat? And what this does is it sets us up that we can start to understand that, all right, when this kid's back squat goes up, their clean also goes up. When their clean goes up, their bench press goes up. When their snatch goes up, their pull-ups go up, their shoulders get stronger. So you start to see these things from the rep rate of improvement. Okay, so that's sort of, one of the key rules, okay, is that we have the framework of 24/4, and then we're looking at the rule of the rep rate of improvement, and the rep rate of improvement is something that's a dynamic changing rep rate based off their age, based off of where they're at, based off their genetics. But at an early age now, we're going to go back and pretend, okay, if this kid who's also in 7th or 8th grade, and we could get them to bench 225 leaving 8th grade, to get to that next point of, let's say, a 300-pound back squat, okay, typically to bench 225, you're going to have to back squat 300 plus pounds. Okay, so now you start to go through and you're going, all right, so to get an athlete to back squat 135 pounds, that's 45 pounds on each side of the bar. That's going to be about 100 reps. We'll give you about 10 pounds. So for every 100 reps, we're going to see, okay, for most people, that's going to take us about 3 months. If we can get 600 reps, that rep rate of improvement is going to be about somewhere in that the realm of 10 pounds per 100 reps. We know that in most workouts, we're going to see about 50 total reps of back squat per week. Okay, so now we're solving this equation. We know what it means to be stupid strong as an older person. We know what it means to be stupid strong sort of when you're like in your 20s. We know what it means to be stupid strong, or what it looks like to be stupid strong with specific pound for pound body weight percentages. And now we're looking at, this is the actual applied part. So bench press, we know we should try to get 70 reps per week. We're using that 24/4 framework. And now we're getting into that rep range of improvement. Okay, so the rep rate of improvement might look like 50 reps every single week for back squat. So one day, let's say we're doing 8 sets of 4. That's a pretty heavy back squat day. Another day, let's say that we're doing 4 sets of 5. Okay, that's over 50 reps for the week on back squat. So now we're dialing that in. Then we get to, as we get older, or, we're trying to work through from that 135 to that 225 pound mark. we're still seeing, at least on site here, based off of our research, is that we're still seeing about a 10-pound increase for every 100 reps if we're working towards that 225-pound back squat. So we're still talking about this middle schooler. Okay, so the middle schooler comes in every single week. They're going to follow the 24-4 for 20 straight weeks. They're going to get about 50 reps a week. And now all of a sudden, for 4 months, they get 800 reps done. Okay, 800 reps of back squat in 4 months. Okay, guess what? When they do 800 reps in 4 months, they back squat 225. Okay, so we're going to see this. Okay, now that's around the let's say that's at the early parts of 8th grade. They're back squatting 225, which is very reasonable. Okay, very consistent. Now we can look at it and say, all right, what's going to change? Okay, to go from 225 to 315 to get them stupid strong. 315 for middle schoolers, stupid strong. Okay, to do that, now we have to look at what's that rep rate of improvement. It's going to be 10 pounds for every 175 reps. Okay, so now we got to get them in the gym. We have to execute 175 reps to get 10 pounds. Okay, so to do that, we know that they're going to get about 50 reps a week. That's going to be about 8 months. They're going to get 1,600 reps. If they get 1,600 reps in 8 months, now all of a sudden they've hit the needs. They get that 175 reps done. For every 175 reps done, they get 10 pounds. That's going to take us 8 months. Okay, so within 8 months, we're going to expect them to back squat 315. When they back squat 315, it's likely that they're also benching 225. Okay, so now we can go through, and then you can even go even further and say if a kid's in high school and he back squats 405, he's pretty freaking stupid strong. Well, that rep rate of improvement is now we're looking at 10 pounds for every 200 reps. So instead of every 175, we're looking at 200 reps. Now we know that it's going to take you about 9 months because for every 200 reps, you get 10 pounds. We know that we're going to get 50 reps a week. Now that we're looking at this, it might take us 9 months to get to 405. But here's the kicker. We've got to factor in the fact that we're missing time with vacation. We talked about this. We're missing time for sports, and that can set us back quite a bit. And this is where we have an athlete on site named Kyle Burnett. Okay, so we call him Swole Kyle. So Swole Kyle is, to me, the definition of stupid strong. He's like 21, 22 years old. He just did his second powerlifting program or competition. Back squatted 705, deadlifted 705, benched 440, missed 330 on both back squat and deadlift. Now, clean athlete, just got into lifting really hard about 2.5 years ago. But to me, Kyle is like the epitome of stupid strong. And so basing a lot of this stuff, we had a lot of this stuff created, and we could actually see like, wow, this is really proving out to be pretty freaking dialed in, because we can actually look at someone like Kyle and say, well, Kyle's squatting freaking 317 kilos for 320 kilos. And it took him about that allotted time frame to get there. Now, I did want to go into one final aspect here before we sort of close this out, is that yes, you can get stupid strong from genetics. Yes, you can get stupid strong and actually not be actually strong. You just look freaking huge. That can happen. But for the most part, stupid strength is related to these lifts, okay? And those foundational exercises are going to be back squat, front squat, bench press, dips, incline bench, pull-ups, chin-ups. And then I want to throw cleans in there. Because one thing that we have seen is that now when we've gone through this 225 bench for a middle schooler, a 315-pound back squat for a middle schooler, now if we're looking at can they get to the point where they could bench or where they could clean 225 in middle school, that's going to increase the likelihood that they're also stupid strong when they're in high school. So if they're in middle school and they can clean 225 in 8th grade, someone like Nick Singleton, who cleaned 285 when he was in middle school in 8th grade, went on and cleaned 360 when he was in high school. Okay, he's stupid strong. Now we're looking at this and we're recognizing, okay, commit to the framework of 24/4. Commit to 20 weeks, 4 hours a week, 20 straight weeks. Hold yourself accountable to that. The best part about that concept of the 24/4, that concept actually leads to a long-term buy-in. Because now they don't want to lose those gains, right? That's the best part. Then they understand the rep rate of improvement. The rep rate of improvement is the concept that now they tie their work towards their gains. Okay. So when we can do that for them, tie your work to your gains, they understand now that they're going to do this work, they'll get these gains, this work, these gains. And then you start to tie this into various of the foundational exercises, and you can convince a kid that, okay, let's take an example with your clean. Middle school kid. You got to learn the technique. You got to get really good at the technique. It's going to take a lot of reps, okay? We're probably going to get about 25 reps a week. Now, some football players in high school, middle school, will get more than that in a week. Typically, let's say if we did, 7 triples, that's going to be about 21 reps. We might get 42 reps a week. Most athletes, though, we will get about 25 reps of clean per week. So that rep rate of improvement up to 135 is going to be 10 pounds for every 200 reps. Okay, so we'll see 10 pounds for every 200 reps. That's going to take about 1,800 reps. That's going to take us about 17 months. So when they start, if somebody starts in 7th grade, it's going to take about 8 or 17 months. I think I said 1,800 months. It's going to take about 17 months, and that's going to lead them within about 2 years. They're going to be able to clean that 135, and then they're going to be about another year and a half before they clean 225. But if we keep them dialed in and focus on that rep rate, what's interesting is that when you go from 225 to 315, now the technique is ingrained, okay? So now we might have a kid who's in 9th grade and he's been cleaning for 2.5 years, and all of a sudden he's still getting 25 reps a week, but his clean is improving faster than it ever had before, okay? And this is where we'll see about 180 reps will lead to a 10-pound increase. There's a big buy-in with the psyche. There's a big buy-in with confidence. There's a big buy-in with the technical precision. There's a big buy-in global neural activation. And so now you go from 225 when you're, let's say, a 9th grader, to all of a sudden 15 months later, you've done 1,600 reps. So you have 1,600 reps, and now next thing you know, because that rep rate of improvement is 10 pounds for every 180 reps, you're cleaning 315. And it's happening at this faster pace. Okay, so part of the key concept that I'm trying to put out to everybody is stupid strong is here, right? We see these old heads. We see these dudes that have no neck. They're freaking just big, thick dudes. Stupid strong. Swole Kyle, stupid strong. He's like, to me, the embodiment of stupid strong. And then we can look at the numbers, we can look at the lifts, we can look at the muscles, okay? And those are all fantastic. But in the realm of sports performance, we've got to look at what can we do as well to lead to those super strong numbers that transfer, okay? And that's where it comes back to 24/4, okay? Have that buy-in for 20 weeks. Train 4 hours a week, okay, in the gym. Train 4 hours a week in your sport. But you have that 24/4 concept just imprinted into your head. And then the next thing is mastering that rep rate of improvement. When you have a kid who's in middle school master that rep rate of improvement, they start to think through, they want to train more. They want to show up more. They want to do the reps more. They want to get stupid strong because they know if they do something like cleans, if they can do 200 reps on a consistent basis and they're doing 25 to 30 reps a week, they're going to get to that 135, 225, 315 benchmark much faster. Okay. And so that's where it becomes that truly this comes down to those 3 factors. And that's the last part is benchmarks. Identify those key benchmarks, because when you see benchmarks as an athlete, as a person who's in fitness, you want to work towards those. It's a destination that you want to get to. And when you can get to them, you can quantify your time. Okay, you can mentally commit easier. You can then follow a loose formula to get to that point, and then that gets you to achieve that stupid strength. So I hope that helps everybody out there. I hope this helps you think through the lens of getting stupid strong, of improving your work ethic. If you guys want to see more about stupid strength, make sure that you click on this video right here. This is a video specifically going into stupid strength because remember, freaks, if you want to become a champion, you've always got to cultivate your power. Peace.